Now that we have the kids connected to the material and they've brought their unique experiences and ideas to the table, they're primed to be successful for working in an asynchronous setting. They've experienced multiple representations to provide additional access points to the content. So let's take a look at some of those additional resources that can be utilized in a variety of ways in an asynchronous environment. For those of you using the latest edition of enVision Mathematics, enVision Mathematics 2021, you will notice this distance learning support tile appear at your table of contents page. At the lesson level, notice this piece at the top for Show Distance Learning Resources. Once I click on that, my lesson is streamlined and suggested distance learning resources appear at the lesson level. Of course, I can accomplish this in a variety of different ways. So let's take a moment to go through some of the other resources that I might want to assign to my students during this distance learning period. For those of you unfamiliar with the playlist feature, notice that just about anything within the lesson has the ability to add it to a playlist. So I can simply click Add to Playlist. I can create a new playlist or make some adjustments to an existing playlist. I can call that playlist whatever I'd like, and then simply add the materials to that playlist as I go. For instance, the Solve and Discuss It that we just modeled, as well as that visual learning animation, and the Math Excel for School Practice and Problem Solving or additional practice. Once I select what I would like for my students to work on and include it inside of the playlist, I simply click on this Assign All button, select a student, group of students, or my class as a whole. And then remember, on Realize, I have the ability to automatically assign remediation and enrichment activities if I would like to have the computer further assist my students on their pathway to differentiation and meeting their specific needs. Remember, the beauty of Math Excel is that my students have a chance to utilize all of these fantastic question help features over here on the right. It's like having that built-in tutor for them at home to be able to help them just like you would in the classroom during that asynchronous time. And don't forget, lesson quizzes have been created for each and every lesson within enVision Mathematics. And based on the results of those assessments, again, you can automatically assign remediation and enrichment activities to really help meet your student needs. And of course, don't forget, you as a teacher have the ability to assign any of these differentiation activities directly to your students or group of students. It falls just below the lesson quiz. Additional resources that you might want to direct the attention of your students to include those additional math tools, because as we know, many of our students don't have math tools with them at home, and we know how important those manipulatives are to help them when making sense of mathematics, as well as the Game Center. You can send these links directly to students or assign them at the lesson level if you choose to do so. And let's not forget how important project-based learning is during this time. Remember, all of your STEM project resources are right here at your fingertips and can be easily added to a playlist or assigned individually to your students to work on for a larger period of time. And again, for those of you using the 2021 copyright of enVision 6.8, all of your Pick a Project resources can be easily assigned to the students or added to a playlist as well. Now, we've been taking a look at the distance learning resources that you might want to assign during specific lessons, but let's not forget, we always have students and parents who would like access to the entire lesson so that they can work through additional practice problems as needed. Don't forget that Interactive Student Edition is available for all students to utilize during this distance learning time, and students can easily navigate through the entire Interactive Student Edition and make notes within using that Next button at the bottom. Please remember that students have the ability to download one topic at a time to utilize for offline access as well. Let's transition to thinking about assessment in a remote learning environment. We know that now more than ever, it's important to find out exactly what students know and understand with fewer problems. You may be familiar with some of the research that's been done over the past few months by NCTM and multiple experts in the field of mathematics, including Zach Champagne, one of our lead authors, who just published a white paper on remote learning. We know that now more than ever, it's important to find out exactly what students know and understand with fewer problems. So we'll want to have a slightly different emphasis in the way in which we assess. So let's take a look at some of those resources. Let's start here with this topic, performance task. Again, experts recommend fewer problems, so all I need to do is come in here and edit or simply put some notes inside of my performance task and let the students know that maybe instead of submitting all four responses to the performance task as it's built, maybe I have students just choose the two that they think best represents their understanding. Of course, end of topic and mid-topic assessments can be customized as well. And again, the final piece for those of you utilizing the 2021 copyright is Realize Scout. This observational assessment tool allows me to keep track of all of the great work that my students are submitting during this distance learning time so that I have evidence of their thinking. Now, Ty's work that we reviewed earlier is in Scout as an artifact to refer back to during conference time or at the end of term. It allows me to record great evidence, not only for students that are understanding and on their way to that proficiency, but also for students that are struggling a little bit, so I can really help meet their needs, perhaps in one-on-one conferences or in additional small group instruction. I want to thank you so much for joining us on today's journey to learn more about distance learning resources found within enVision, and encourage you to continue learning more under the help section found within Realize, as well as on mysavvistraining.com for more in-depth trainings and tutorials.